I don't remember the exact day. I just remember who I was with. When I think about my childhood, I don't see big moments. I see small mistakes. This is one of them. It seemed like a good idea at the time. I don't remember how the idea started. I remember how quickly it stopped being questioned. That was always our system. If one of us said something with enough confidence, the other one assumed thinking had already happened. It was another empty afternoon, not peaceful, just unclaimed. The kind of day that felt unfinished before it even began. We were behind my house, sitting on the dirt, throwing small rocks at a fence that had done nothing wrong. He picked up a stick and drew a line in the ground. "This," he said, "is where it starts." I asked what it was. He didn't answer right away. That usually meant he was choosing something better. "A trap," he said finally. We had decided traps were important. We didn't know why. Important things just seemed to involve traps. We imagined burglars first, not real ones. The kind from movies, who deserved it. Then animals, wild ones, even though we lived nowhere near anything wild. Then people who weren't bad exactly, but probably shouldn't be back there. This logic satisfied us. We chose the spot carefully, close enough to the fence to feel intentional, hidden enough to feel clever. Digging felt official, like work that mattered. We started with our hands. That lasted until it became uncomfortable. Then we upgraded. A small shovel from the garage, a bent garden tool that was already broken, one spoon from my kitchen taken quietly, with the assumption it would be returned someday. The hole wasn't deep, but it looked serious. We took turns giving instructions. "Make it wider." "No, deeper. It needs to look real." "It already does." At some point, he stopped and stared at it. "What if someone actually falls in?" he asked. I thought about it longer than I should have. "That's how traps work," I said. This answer explained nothing, which made it useful. We covered the hole with sticks, not strong ones, just enough to believe in. Then leaves, dry ones that cracked when you stepped on them, the kind that made everything look finished. We stepped back. It didn't look good, but it looked convincing. Testing felt necessary. We used a rock first, a small one. Nothing happened. That felt unfair. We found a larger rock, dropped it carefully. Still nothing. "Well," he said, "it's probably designed for people." That sentence should have ended everything. Instead, it promoted him. "I'll try," he said, already stepping forward. I didn't stop him. I never did. He stepped forward without slowing down. That was important to him. Slowing down would have meant doubt. The leaves shifted under his foot, quietly, almost politely. For a moment, nothing happened. He smiled at me. That smile felt earned. Then the sticks gave way. Not all at once. One at a time, like they were changing their minds. His leg dropped through first, then the other. He disappeared just enough to surprise himself. He didn't scream. He laughed. That was worse. The laugh came out too loud, too fast, like he was trying to convince both of us that this was still under control. I ran forward and grabbed his arms. This was my instinct. Grab first, think later. I pulled. He slid deeper. We both froze. "I think my ankle's stuck," he said. He said it carefully, like careful words could fix joints. Ankle sounded serious. More serious than knees. Much more serious than pride. We stopped laughing at the same time. I pulled again. Slower this time. This helped only emotionally. The hole seemed deeper now, even though we hadn't touched it. I'm okay, he said quickly, too quickly. Then, without warning, he slipped free. He fell backward onto the dirt, arms wide, staring at the sky. We waited for pain, for shouting, for something adult to appear. Nothing did. He sat up slowly and looked at his leg, then his ankle, then his arms. There was dirt everywhere, a small scrape, a thin line of blood that didn't seem committed. He touched it once and stopped. I'm fine, he said, which meant the conversation was over. Relief came in late, heavy, awkward. We looked at the hole. It no longer felt clever. It felt like evidence. We should fill it, he said. We filled it fast. Too fast. Hands, feet, sticks pushed back into place like apologies. We didn't try to make it neat, just invisible. The ground looked wrong, but only if you knew where to look. We stood there, breathing harder than necessary. No one saw, he said. This mattered more than whether he was hurt. I nodded. Again. We went inside without telling anyone. Later, he walked home normally. That felt like proof. That night, lying in bed, I replayed the moment over and over. Not the fall, not the scrape. The moment he smiled. The moment we thought we were right. We didn't feel lucky. We felt correct. Nothing bad had happened, which meant the idea must have been good. That was how our thinking worked back then. If the ending wasn't terrible, the middle didn't matter. The hole stayed filled. The fence stayed quiet. Within a week, we forgot where we had dug, which felt like success. At the time, that was enough.